Can you hear me now? All right, before we start the meeting, a couple quick public service announcements. For an emergency, please note the exits on either side of the chambers and proceed down the stairs. Bathrooms are located at the door to my left, women's room to the right, men's room is to the left. We allow 30 minutes for public speaking, although we will open that up tonight. If you have not done so already, please sign up at the podium to speak or through the Zoom chat if you're joining us virtually. Please note that the council does have rules of decorum for our meetings, including the public speaking portion of the meeting. We ask that respect be shown to all, whether they serve on the council, on the city staff, or here as a public member. Not only are we here tonight to listen to the voices of the public, but we are also here to run government proceedings in order to best serve us all. We cannot have any distractions during our meeting. When a speaker is addressing the council, there could be no disruptions. This calls talking over, yelling, and clapping while somebody is speaking. Their freedom of speech allows for uninterrupted time. When this body proceeds with the business of the day, we also need to have no disruptions. As per open meeting law, section 103, interruption of a speaker or government proceedings will not be tolerated. After one warning, anyone who interrupts a speaker or the proceedings of today's meeting will be asked to leave. I'm now calling this Common Council meeting to order at 7:35 p.m. on October 3rd, 2023. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. You may be seated. May I please have roll call?
Alderman Pasty.
Here.
Alderman Frankel.
Here.
Alderman Scott Childress.
Here.
Alderman Worthington.
Here.
Alderman Mohammed.
Here.
Alderman Dennison.
Here.
Alderman Andrews. Alderman Shabbat.
Here.
Alderman Hirsch.
Here.
We have a quorum. Full council for the first time in a few months. Can I have a motion to dispense with the minutes of the previous meeting and approve same? Motion by Michelle Hirsch, second by Steve Shabbat. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is adopted 9-0. Can I have a motion to dispense with the reading of the general bills? Motion by Rita Worthington, second by Naeem Mohammed. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is adopted 9-0. As council members, we get the opportunity to meet folks from throughout the city and from all walks of life. Throughout our service on the council, we meet community members who genuinely move us with their acts of kindness and their efforts to better our community. Tonight, we recognize and honor a community member who has gone above and beyond to serve and help others with the Common Council Community Award. This month, we are delighted to present Anastasia Saunders with the award. She was selected by Alderwoman Naeema Mohammed, and at this time, I invite them both to the podium. You could clap. She's pretty wonderful.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Naeema Mohammed. I want to honor Anastasia tonight. Anastasia is 29 years old, born and raised in Kingston. Born and raised in Kingston. Passionate about love, expression, connection, and joy. Creator, videographer of Issa series on Instagram and YouTube. Cook Juice Girl at We Got the Juice. They make the best salads. Currently making music under the name AYI, or is it A? AI. Anastasia's current desires and dreams are to take care of her backyard as much as they can, to assist others with theirs, to provide more connections to their people and community through creativity, truth, and perspectives. We are all magic. We often do not honor people for just being themselves. However, tonight, I want to honor you for being yourself and also contributing to the community equally. As humans, we tend to focus on many external things, but tonight I want to focus on the things that come naturally to you, such as being supportive, being warm, being humble, being explosive, being a listening ear, and being helpful. Communities must have these ingredients to survive, so thank you for adding to the city of Kingston. Anastasia has been someone who has always stood out to me. I'll never forget seeing her a couple months ago. She probably doesn't remember this. She didn't ask me the boring question of like, how are you, how's work? She asked me what my goals were and truly was interested. We all know those kind of people. I have watched Anastasia film product for free, create marketing videos, and gladly offer them to the people that she's created the videos for. I'm honoring Anastasia tonight for her contribution to the community. Her volunteer work has been a catalyst for businesses and people's self-esteem. I would personally say fostering healthy connections and conversations is one of her specialties. Community is the focus, and you highlight it every time. There's so many things that I'm sure you have done that I'm unaware of, but I want to say thank you for being in this community. Your positive energy is contagious, and thank you again. Can she say something?
If you would like to speak, you can, but you don't have to.
Hi, everybody. How are you all today? It looks like there's something important going on. I just want to thank every single one of you. I know I don't know 90% of you in here, but I hope to in the future, and hope that y'all just do whatever to make this place a better place and support your neighbors. You know, leave the drama at home. Save your energy. But bless you all. Thank you so much for this.
Naima, can you leave the microphone there? We gave you a new one here, so we'll just making it work. Thank you. We're now entering into the public speaking portion of the meeting. We have allotted 30 minutes for this purpose. Speakers will have 3 minutes, which I'll have the timer here. I will also give a verbal 30-second warning to everyone. If there are remaining speakers after 30 minutes, I will call for a motion from the council to extend the period for another 30 minutes. Speakers, please direct your comments to the chair, as council members cannot engage in debate during this time. Please state your name and address on the record before you begin. For the audience in chambers and on Zoom, there could be no distractions when a speaker is addressing the council. The Common Council has also received written comments for our consideration, and they could be found on the city's website under tonight's agenda. We are going to start with the speakers that signed up ahead of time, and then we will go to the speakers who signed up at the podium. First speaker, please.
John Ahern.
Sir, you need to just press that button until it turns green. Thank you.
Sorry. Good evening. My name is John Ahern from the law firm of Couch White. The address is 540 Broadway, Albany. I'll try to keep it brief. I know you have a big crowd here. We represent Merit Apprenticeship Alliance. We are here in support of Resolution 160. The purpose of Resolution 160 is to remove what is being known as the 3-5 rule. This rule, frankly, our position is illegal, as it requires public contracts over a certain threshold to have an apprenticeship training program in which the program graduated at least 3 graduates every year for the preceding 5 years. There are at least 3 reasons in which we believe Resolution 160 should be passed and that the 3-5 rule should be struck. The first is that the 3-5 rule is contrary to the requirements for lowest responsible bidder under General Municipal Law, Section 103. The purpose of this law is to afford governments and local municipalities to get contracts at the lowest possible price from companies and contractors that are responsible to do it. This 3-5 rule will eliminate lowest responsible bidders at some point. It may not happen today, but it will happen. And in the long run will cost the city additional money for public contracts. The second portion is the 3-5 rule is contrary to Labor Law Section 816B, which specifically provides that a municipality can have a requirement for public contracts for an apprentice training program. However, that apprentice training program is the extent of the requirement. The statute only permits the local government to go so far. The statute requires that the program must be approved and registered by the Department of Labor. No other conditions can be required under Section 816B. The 3-5 rule goes far beyond that. Lastly, the 3-5 rule is entirely arbitrary and has no rational basis under the law. The size of a graduating class has absolutely no correlation to the quality of the program or the quality of the graduates. Requiring more than 3 graduates or 3 graduates at all has zero connection to the law or,
Seconds.
thank you, has zero connection to the law and is expressly prohibited by the labor law as it's preempted. The standard under 816B is that the program be registered and approved by Department of Labor. The approval of Department of Labor should be more than enough to certify the quality of a program. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Chris Ryan.
Can you say the name again?
Chris Ryan.
Is Chris Ryan here? Not here. Next speaker, please.
Penny Hazer.
And if everybody, when they come up, if you could just press the button. If it's green, then the microphone is on. Thank you.
Is that good? Okay.
Yes, that's good. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak for the council. We appreciate your time. My name is Penny Hazer. I am the founder and president of the Merit Apprenticeship Alliance. Tonight I'm here representing the Alliance, but I'm here also representing local contractors, local apprentices, and local apprentice graduates. You will have the pleasure of hearing from some of those folks this evening. To start, I'd like to refute some of the allegations that were made at the April 16th Laws and Rules Committee meeting that was recently held and provide you with some facts. The Alliance was established in 2007. Every year for the past 16 years, the Department of Labor comes into our organization and does a thorough monitoring visit. They check our apprentices, they check for enrollment, they check for related instruction, they check for compliance. Never once in the 16 years that we've been in operation have we been noted as having any kind of a deficiency. We run a good program. It's a small program. We are not the size of some of these other multi-employer unionized programs, and that's okay, because size alone does not dictate quality. In fact, last year, the United States Department of Labor recognized the Alliance as one of 206 apprenticeship ambassadors in the country. We were one of the first in that cohort. It was the first time they'd done that. So we didn't get there by cutting corners. We got there by running a good quality program, albeit a smaller program. We support registered apprenticeship training. We support the 30% graduation threshold that you have implemented. We object to 3 graduates per year for each of the past 5 years. It is not a reasonable threshold for a small program like ours or for a specialty contractor who has an individual employer program. It is simply not doable. You will eliminate bidders from the project. So my point is that the allegations at the August 16th meeting, those were unfounded allegations. And quite honestly, they were lies. I note that Local 825 boasts 9,000
seconds.
members. They have 30 apprentices. That is 0.3%. One apprentice for every 300 members. So it's not about apprenticeship program quality. It is not about workforce development. This is simply a tactic to steer City of Kingston contracts towards a select group of contractors. I implore you to repeal that section of the law and that 3-5
Thank you.
graduation rule.
Thank you. Time's up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Bree Allen.
Evening, Bree Allen, 12 Heritage Court. I'm here tonight to speak to you not only as a City of Kingston resident, but also as a former City of Kingston business owner. So in the 1950s, my grandfather started a business with one bus and one employee, which was him, transporting kids to the Kingston City School District. From the 50s until 2012, when we sold the business, we grew the business to serve multiple school districts and to employ over 100 employees. So during those 6 decades when we were in business, our employees never chose to join a union. I wanted to note that because about 60% of transportation contractors across the country are unionized, the other 40% are not. In our area in Kingston, our direct competition was a union site. So that opportunity was always available to our employees. The choice was always available to them. And they were approached by the union multiple times over the decades that we had them. But that was their choice not to join the union. So I want to say that I think that would be devastating for us as a company had we chose to bid on work for the Kingston City School District and then precluded from bidding on the work because of what our employees chose, what they thought was best for them. So we wanted to make sure that that doesn't happen on a larger scale. You know, speaking of a union versus non-union, it's not about the quality of the employer. Union versus not union, it doesn't speak to the benefits that are offered to employees. We know that. If these employees wanted to be part of a union representative is a text message away, and they could certainly join a union if they wanted to. The way you find out about an employer is you speak to their employees, is you see what they do for the community. You can see Arnold Construction employees are behind me here today, and you can speak to them and know that they work for a great, long-standing family employer. About 1/3 of Arnold employees are under the age of 30. So this is the type of community that we want bringing into Kingston. We want to encourage young people to come here, to start their lives, to build homes, to be adding to the community. So let's make sure we support the employees' right to choose, whether it's a union or a non-union shop, and let's make sure we're supporting our local contractors, whether they're union or not, and allowing them to bid on local work. Thank you for your time tonight.
Next speaker, please.
Jim Shaughnessy.
Hello. First of all, I want to say that the sound quality in the back of the room is terrible. So if people would come up and please speak loudly so that everyone can hear what's being said, it would be good.
Yeah, you have to, I'm not timing you right now, but you do have to speak right into the microphone. Thank you.
Okay, well, everybody
Jim,
should...
Jim, you're good. Yeah, but just note for everybody who else comes up. Thank you.
Okay. My name is James Shaughnessy. I live at 11 Delta Place. I am here in favor of the resolution, I believe it's 160, removing that apprentice qualification from the contracting law. I live very close to the sinkhole on Washington Avenue that was there for at least 5 years, I believe, maybe from 2014 to 2018 or 2019. It was a mess. And the company that solved the problem eventually was Arnold Construction. They sent their men down 80 feet underneath Washington Avenue and chipped away concrete that had been put there that had leaked into that tunnel by another contractor. I don't know if that other contractor was non-union or not, but Arrold Construction was the one that fixed the problem. I believe municipal contracts should be let to the lowest responsible bidder. I don't think there's anything in the definition of a responsible bidder as to whether or not the contractor is an open shop or a closed shop or union shop. So I hope you will correct this discrepancy and vote in favor of Resolution 160. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Nick Story.
Hi, my name is Nick Story. I graduated from the Operating Engineer Apprenticeship Program through the Merit Alliance, and I'm now an operator with A. Calaruso & Son. I enrolled in the apprenticeship program because I knew it would help me be a better operator. I had some experience going in, but I knew that I needed to learn more. I now work with our other apprentices to help them get the most out of the program. The Alliance doesn't need more apprentices and doesn't want a bench of unemployed apprentices. We have a good balance of apprentices and journey workers with the mission to keep everyone working. The resolution to require 3 graduates a year for 5 years doesn't make sense. We are asking the city to focus on quality and qualify small programs with good graduation rates. Please repeal the resolution. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Val Dwyer.
Good evening. I'm Val Dwyer, president of Arrold Construction and city taxpayer, asking you to please pass resolution 160 tonight without delay so we can stop the bleeding from the impact of last year's apprenticeship resolution. In front of you are actual bid results for the 18 months prior to when this last resolution was passed to show you just how much competition would have been eliminated and how much money it would have cost the city in that 18-month period had this resolution been in place. These numbers have been independently verified through a FOIL with the city engineer, which is attached. The results show it would have cost the taxpayers an additional $2.7 million had this resolution been in effect at that time. The contractors highlighted in red cannot comply with your resolution, and those in green can. The first bid, if you look, the first and second bidder don't comply, so the city would have to go to the third bidder, which would cost the city an additional $531,000. The second bid, only 2 out of 4 bidders qualify, eliminating 50% of competition, costing the city an additional $129,000. Skip to the next page, middle of the page, only 1 of 5 bidders can meet your resolution. 80% of competition is eliminated. You have to skip to the third bidder, which would cost the city an additional $396,000. Next, only 1 out of 4 bidders would meet your requirement. 75% of competition is eliminated. That would cost the city an additional $186,000. Next page, only 1 out of 4 bidders would qualify, eliminating 75% of competition. An additional cost to the city of $614,000 on one job alone. Next job, only 2 out of 4 bidders qualify. 50% of the competition is knocked out, adding an additional cost to the city of $272,000. Next page, only 2 out of 4 bidders qualify, eliminating 50% of the competition. You have to skip the first bidder, and the city would pay an additional $204,000 to comply. Next bid, only 1 out of 6 bidders comply. 83% of your competition is eliminated, costing the city additional $83,000. Next bid, only 1 out of 3 qualify. 67% of the competition is eliminated. An additional cost of the city to $292,000. totaling $2.7 million. I strongly believe the Common Council has a fiduciary responsibility to pass Resolution 160 tonight without delay so we can avoid unnecessary costs that have no added benefit to our city. I will remind you there are only 2 municipalities in this state that have this restricted, Ulster County and the city of Kingston, and I think there's a reason for that. Thank you
Time is
so
up.
much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Dan Gruner.
Good evening. My name is Dan Gruner. I've been a taxpayer in the city of Kingston for 19 years. I've also known the Arrold family since 1988. When I think of the Arrold family, a few words come to mind: community-minded, committed, and an unwavering, albeit quietly, willingness to support those less fortunate in our community. I've had the privilege of watching this family do their work quietly. I've had the good fortune of watching Gary and Lisa Arrold support disabled veterans and children anonymously, the sign of a true giver. I have watched them grow their family business, now in its second generation, from a single dump truck to the thriving business it is today. I know this resolution is about giving young people an opportunity, and I'm going to share something that again, very few people in our community are aware of. It is that Arrold Construction has partnered quietly with the Boys and Girls Club to create opportunities for these exact young people. This is not just about Arrold Construction. It is about every contractor's opportunity and right to work that are no longer able to bid on jobs in the city of Kingston. This is about what is right and what is wrong. This is about the taxpayers, and as we just heard, about the look back and the potentially $2.7 million this resolution could have cost the taxpayers. This is about our city's best interests. This is the fiduciary responsibility of the Common Council. I find it very peculiar that the city of Kingston is the only city in New York State that has such a limitation on a contractor's right to work and its abilities to bid, yet the state of New York thinks highly enough to work with Arrold Construction on a regular basis. Ask yourselves, why is that? Again, it is time to do what is right, and that time is now. We cannot continue to bleed taxpayers' money. I strongly encourage you, Common Council, tonight to pass the resolution 160. Thank you.
If you could bear with us for 2 minutes, we got kicked off the internet. The meeting is still running, but we're just logging back into the internet. Well, I think that was the first time I understated a tech time to fix. Next speaker, please.
Dave Laspada.
Good evening. My name is David Laspada. I am here tonight as both Vice President of A. Colarusso & Son and immediate past Chairman of the Board of the Merit Alliance. I represent both entities because both A. Colarusso & Son and the Merit Alliance have a strong commitment to registered apprenticeship training. Colarusso relies on the Alliance to help us deliver a skilled workforce through the apprenticeship program. Since 2012, Colarusso has employed 12 apprentices, 7 of whom graduated from the program, and 3 have stayed with us to build a career. Colarusso currently has one project with the City of Kingston valued at more than $3 million and has performed over $9.5 million worth of work over the past 3 years. In fact, on the current Henry Street project that we are involved in, we have 2 apprentices currently working on, and 1 apprentice graduate who is now working as an operating engineer. We support apprenticeship language that imposes a 30% graduation rate. We have a quality program, and our graduation rate far exceeds 30%. Despite our successes and commitment, the City of Kingston, under Resolution 204 of 2022, which arbitrarily qualifies only apprenticeship program sponsors, being referred to tonight as the 3-5 program, excludes Colarusso from bidding and performing work for the city. Recently, Colarusso has been denied a project award after being the low bidder, a loss of opportunity for both Colarusso as a company and for our employees. Approximately 35% of Colarusso's employees live and work in Ulster County. The remaining employees live in the immediate surrounding counties. So it seems ironic that the city would purposely deny work to local taxpayers, those very people who will pay the increased costs for construction in the city. Additionally, since the city imposed the requirement, the city has incurred additional costs to taxpayers as projects
30 seconds.
have been awarded to firms with a higher bid price, or the city was forced to rebid the projects. The additional costs are real in construction prices, staffing resources to rebid the projects, and a reduced number of bidders. Again, Colarusso has a proven record with the city as a reliable, safe, and productive contractor. This resolution specifically will eliminate our ability to bid and work in the city.
Thank you. Time is up.
Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Karen Tobias.
Good evening. Thank you, council members, for allowing me to speak today. My name is Karen Tobias, and I have worked with Arrow Construction for the last 18 years. I grew up in construction, working for my father's HVAC company on every school break and holiday 24/7. And after a degree in business, I returned to help repay what was invested in me. I worked in the field and in management alongside all types of contractors and trades, small and large, union and non-union. We did mostly state and municipal work, much like Arrold Construction. It is with this background that I have a firm knowledge of what it takes to be a competent and successful contractor in the state of New York. It was around the time that I started at Arrold that the Merit Apprenticeship Program we are a part of began. Our president, Val Dwyer, was one of the 10 founding trustees of this program. I think being one of the founding members speaks to how important training and education is to our company. Contrary to the resolution that was passed last year, quantity is not an indication of quality. We believe our apprenticeship program is exceptional and selective. We have strict eligibility requirements to join, one of the most important being safety, which is measured on that contractor's EMR ratio. This ratio is earned through having a good track record in safety and determined only by the National Council on Compensation Insurance. Other factors determining a company's eligibility include their financial stability and their commitment to employing an apprentice for at least 500 hours every year. Since day one with Arrold, I have witnessed a profound commitment to the community and the people that live here. For over 50 years, this company has built strong relationships with the people and organizations of this community, such as the Ryan Organization, the Boys and Girls Club, and Kiwanis, just to name a few. Arrold has always sought out ways to give back and has been more than willing to help those in need, whether through donations, supporting local nonprofits, and volunteering countless hours to do what needed to be done. It is the philanthropy of Arrold and companies like Arrold that will strengthen this community for future generations,
30 seconds.
which is why it is so important to reverse the resolution that has shut them out of working in the city. To me, success involves conducting business with the highest standards of honesty and fairness. Arrow Construction runs on these principles with integrity and purpose. We are living in a time where costs are increasing and a robust construction workforce is greatly needed. By removing Arrow Construction and companies like Arrow from the bidding process and the community they have worked so hard to
Thank you.
grow,
Your time is up.
it will be
Thank you.
detrimental. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Austin Rapusa.
Good evening. My name is Austin Raposa, and I work for Arrow Construction. I'm here tonight to ask you to please pass Resolution 160 as it relates to apprenticeship programs on construction contracts. I have lived here all my life, and I graduated right across the street from Kingston High School in 2014. Shortly after high school, I got my CDL, and I began working for Arrow in 2020 at 25 years old. I was hired as a driver for their construction projects, but they still invested time in me to train me and broaden my skills in different areas, and now I also work in multiple capacities on job sites. This company works as a team, and we take great pride in our work. I am very upset about the resolution from last year that no longer allows our employees to work in the city of Kingston. My wife and I have purchased a home in this community where we are raising our 3 children. We have always been deeply rooted here. It is our home and where we have chosen to raise our children. Why all of a sudden are we no good for you anymore? Local businesses are the heartbeat of this community. We support the city, so please support us and our families and pass Resolution 160 as it can work here, or so we can work here again. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Tom Story.
Good evening. My name is
Sir, if you could just talk a little closer to the microphone. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Tom Story. I've been an employee for Calaruso & Son for the last 5 years. Prior to that, I was with New York State DOT for 34 years, of which 25 of it was right here in the city of Kingston. As my job with Calaruso, I am project superintendent. I've had the opportunity to work with many apprentices over the years. Our mission is to mentor apprentices so they can develop real skills and set them up for good paying, sustainable careers. ACS has been around since 1912. For 111 years, this company is committed to its employees to do good work, to maintain quality standards, and ensure the safety of our workers. We pride ourselves in doing jobs well, keeping our employees close to home and working. Our apprentices are important to us. They are the next generation of workers. As superintendent, my job is to make sure our apprentices are provided all the required training. Our operator apprentices get seat time and a variety of equipment, and our laborers trained on all types of work, from paving to bridge building. Our goal is to give apprentices more than a minimum because it's good for all of us. Our mission is not to have more apprentices just to meet the arbitrary number. Our mission is to work our apprentices with qualified journey workers who can lead by example and help our apprentices stay focused. Bigger programs don't mean better. Size is not necessarily an indicator of quality. The City of Kingston resolution will reduce our ability to expand our training, to expose our apprentices to different kinds of work offered through the city. The resolution to require 3 trade-specific graduates per calendar year for the last 5 years does nothing to promote quality programs, and in fact will eliminate the apprentices and contractors who will participate in small programs from working in the City of Kingston projects. Size doesn't matter. Good quality programs can be large or small. The city should support the programs by only qualifying programs that meet the 30% graduation threshold. I'd like to also add to that, in the beginning I said close to home, good paying jobs. You heard from my son earlier. He's a graduate of the program through the Department of Labor. Not every kid gets the opportunity to go to college or do what their dream may be. but this was his dream. He wanted to be an operator. Kyle Russo gave him that
30
opportunity
seconds.
to come in and get what he wanted. He's now learning, growing. He's going to be a member of his community for a long, long time and is in the process of buying a home in the community. And I think that's what we got to support, our next generation, and this program has allowed me to allow my son to do that. Thank you.
Council members, it's been 30 minutes. I'll entertain a motion to extend for another 30 minutes. Motion by Rennie Scott Childress, second by Rita Worthington. All in favor to extend public speaking for another 30 minutes. Anyone opposed? We will have another 30 minutes for public speaking. Next speaker, please.
Matt Boyce.
Good evening. My name is Matthew Boyce, and I'm a superintendent for Harold Construction. I have been in this field for 20 years and have been with Harold for the past 5. I have a wife, 2 kids, and a home that we built 4 years ago. I have been a supporter of this community my entire life. One thing that I have learned in my time working at Harold Construction is the drive and commitment that we bring to a job is hard to come by. So I ask you tonight to please not cut my coworkers and myself short on the opportunity to work local in the city of Kingston. More importantly, don't cut the city of Kingston short by pushing us out. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Zach Bersani.
Is Zach Bersani here? Not here. Next speaker, please.
Drew Wolf.
Good evening. My name is Drew Wolf, and I work for Harold Construction. I live in this community with my wife, who's a detective for the Ulster County Sheriff's Office, and we just built our first home. I began working at Harold Construction in 2018 when I was 22 years old. I love this company. The people I work with are like family, and we take great pride in the services we provide for the community, and until recently, that included the city of Kingston. When I came to Harold, my experience was in landscaping industry, and I had limited knowledge on Harold's field of work. However, they invested the time to train me, and because of their commitment to their employees, I've been able to make a career here. I'm treated with respect, appreciated, and I'm compensated very well, especially for someone my age. I was disappointed to hear that we have been shut out of work for the city of Kingston, and I am part of a team that has been called on by the city to help them out in emergencies or when no other company can perform the work because of some of the specialized services we provide. We always respond, and I have to assume they have been happy with us because they always call back the next time. I'm disappointed that the Common Council has put an end to that relationship. Please pass Resolution 160 tonight and support local businesses and their employees so we're able to work in our community again. Thank you for your consideration.
Next speaker, please.
Charlie Lamondola.
Sir, you just turned it off. It's okay.
Good evening.
And can you get a little closer? Thank you.
Okay. How's that? Is that better?
That's great.
All right.
Thank you.
Good evening. Charles Lamondola here with Schultz Construction. And on behalf of myself, all of our craft and trade workers, our apprentices, and the Merit Alliance. Merit open shop contractors have well-managed apprentice programs. Our classrooms and on-job training activities are reviewed by the New York State Department of Labor at a minimum 1 time per year. Our apprentice candidates are carefully screened to ensure they understand the years-long commitment to become a journey worker. Merit shop apprentices are assured of a quality education as they progress through their classroom and on-job training. Many open shop contractors have relatively small numbers of apprentices because we have relatively small workforces. It takes us 3 to 6 years for an apprentice to achieve all the required classroom and on-job training, depending on the trade: laborers, carpenters, operators, pipe fitters, it could take us up to 3 to 5 years to graduate a single apprentice. That doesn't mean we have a lower quality experience for our apprentices. The small number of graduates is due to low demand because we have a small independent workforce. We do not have the capacity to graduate 3 apprentices each year. We are graduating skilled apprentices as they complete their studies. Due to our low number of graduates each year, the instructors are able to focus their educational efforts on just a few students in each class session. As Merit Shop contractors, we are able to offer opportunities for an apprentice to graduate as a journey worker for their chosen trade and then go on to enter another apprentice program for the trade that interests them if they choose to. Now, this is rare, yet we've seen individuals graduate from more than one apprentice program. Apprenticeships in the trades open up vast opportunities for career growth in construction, whether union or merit shop. Apprenticeships lead to rewarding roles for journey workers and potential advancement to crew foremen, project superintendents, project managers, cost estimators, and even executive leadership roles, which we see all the time. We want our merit shop apprentices to have the same opportunities as the union apprentices in their career advancement by having the same opportunities on the City of Kingston projects. Please do not exclude good merit shop contractors, our apprentices, or our skilled journey workers from Kingston City Work by requiring 3 apprentices graduate for each specific trade each year.
30 seconds.
We are all good contractors. We have good performance. We have good quality work and safe work. And we'd like to continue working for the City of Kingston as long as you allow it. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Tom Peterson, Jr.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak here tonight. My name is Tom Peterson Jr., and I'm here tonight to ask you to pass Resolution 160 as it relates to the apprenticeship programs. I was born and raised here in Kingston and graduated across the street at the Kingston High School in 2006. I began working for Arrold in 2007 at the age of 19 years old. I am a graduate of Arrold's apprenticeship program with the Merit Alliance and proof of what a successful program it is. In fact, one of my first of many projects that I've been a part of in this city, I was an apprentice working on a sewer line project here on Montrepose Street. After graduating from the Merit Apprenticeship Program, I worked as a laborer, and after a promotion, I am now one of their job superintendents. I am currently overseeing a $3 million rail trail project off of Washington Avenue in the city of Kingston that we're doing for Ulster County. And through my employment with Arrold, my wife and I have been able to purchase a home in this community where we are raising our 3 children. My wife is employed as a teacher in the Kingston School District, and both of our families are deeply rooted in this community. However, because of your new resolution, we have been shut out and our company can no longer do business with the City of Kingston. My coworkers that are here with me tonight and their families are here asking for you to please support local business and their employees and pass Resolution 160 so we can continue working in this city. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Jimmy Steinhilber.
Good evening. My name is James Steinhilber. I began working at Arrold Construction 7 years ago at 17 years old. Being so young, I was initially hired to work in their yard as a helper, but in that last 7 years, that role has changed and grown into something much bigger because of the time and money Arrold invests into their employees. Because of their commitment to employees, I have been able to turn this job that started off when I was a teenager into a career. I was actually part of the team that came in and finally fixed the Washington Ave sinkhole that had existed for years. We take pride in that work and all of our work. We also take pride in our deep community roots. I've lived in this community all of my life, and I still can't understand why the City of Kingston has shut us out and will no longer allow us to do business with them. Harold Construction was founded and still resides in this community, and with it comes a strong and dedicated workforce. These roads are the roads that we grew up on. These schools are the schools that we and our children grew up in. We love this town just as much as we love Harold Construction. So I ask one thing. Please consider letting us work in and for our community again by passing Resolution 160 tonight, which repeals a portion of Resolution 204 of 2022. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Shane Waterman.
Good evening. My name is Shane Waterman, and I work for Harold Construction. I'm here tonight to ask you to pass Resolution 160 as it relates to apprenticeship programs on construction contracts. I'm a graduate of Kingston High School right across the street and began working for Harold Construction in 2018 at 24 years old. One thing you may not know is that about half the work Harold does is very specialized and is not covered under any apprenticeship training in New York State. For that reason, myself along with many of my co-workers who also began working for Harold at a young age are not good candidates for an apprenticeship program, yet we're being punished by the city for that. In the 5 years I've been working for Harold, I have been trained by the employees I work with. I have also attended multiple safety training classes, and in January, the entire company shuts down for 1 week to take a full week of safety training classes. We take safety and training very seriously. The training I have received has allowed me to be successful at my job, and last year I received a promotion for that. I am here tonight as a lifelong city resident. I don't understand why the city does not support my employment and why they have shut me out of doing work here. This is my home and my community, and I'm asking for you to please support local business and their employees and pass Resolution 160 so we can work for the city again.
Next speaker, please.
Nate Hamilton.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Nate Hamilton. I'm 25 years old. I graduated in 2016 from Kingston High School across the street. I now work for Harold Construction in Kingston. I'm here tonight to ask you to please pass Resolution 160. I began working for Harold Construction earlier this year, and I am currently enrolled in their apprenticeship program with Merit Alliance. I'm a first-year apprentice. This job has given me so many opportunities for growth and for my future. Not only am I making a lot more money than I was with my last employer, but now I also have benefits, including health insurance and a 401k plan. To have the opportunities I have with Harold is very unusual for someone my age. I don't understand why the city of Kingston wouldn't support my apprenticeship with Harold. Please support local businesses and their employees and pass Resolution 160 so I can work on projects in our community. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Matt Van Valkenburg.
Good evening. My name is Matt Van Valkenburg, and I work for Harold Construction. I am here tonight to ask you to please pass Resolution 160 as it relates to apprentice programs. I began working for Harold Construction in 2020 at 24 years old. I am a graduate of the Merit Apprenticeship Program. Harold kept me working even through COVID, and I was able to graduate their apprenticeship program without a delay. Through my employment with Harold, my wife and I have been able to purchase a home in this community where we are raising our first child. After graduating from their program, I now work as a laborer for them. However, because of your resolution last year, I've been shut out and can no longer work on a contract in the city of Kingston. Please support local businesses and their employees and pass Resolution 160 tonight so we can work again. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Jean Jacobs.
Good evening. Madam President, members of the Common Council, my community. I have served my community all my life, over 50 years, in many positions. I stand here in solidarity, and I ask you this evening to pass Resolution 160. Why? Because all of you have been elected by the people. All of you took an oath of office to serve your constituents. That's why you serve. That's why I, as a member of my community all these years, have always been the voice of the people. 2 weeks ago, I sat in Laws and Rules, and I listened to Mrs. Valerie Harold Dwyer give her presentation as she stood proudly here this evening. I was spellbound, ladies and gentlemen, and I have always erred on the side of the taxpayer. Why? Because they have to afford to live here, and there are very few living wage jobs. Harold allows those jobs to be here. I'm a former school board president, and virtually our youth, there is such uncertainty in our world right now that our youth needs to have these jobs. We need to improve the graduation rate. You've listened to these young men this evening telling the story of, please, they live here, they have to provide for their family. That's what all of you are here for, to listen to their stories. I'm about unity. I'm an administrator on Concern Kingston, and the Harold family is not just about construction, they're about unity, and they're about the children in a safe city. It's not just about one item, it's about all that is combined.
30 seconds.
And I urge everyone here on the Common Council tonight to have listened to the stories of these people. Thank you for your time. I appreciate that. Good evening.
Next speaker, please.
Tyler Pratt.
Tyler Pratt here. Next speaker, please.
Assemblyman Jonathan Jacobson.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the council. Thank you for allowing me to speak on this. I don't represent the city of Kingston. I do represent parts of Ulster County. I'm in the 104th district, which goes from Beacon to Newburgh, up the Hudson, includes Plattekill too, and over to city of Poughkeepsie. And normally I wouldn't be coming here, but I think that this issue transcends borders, any artificial lines of legislative districts. When you look at this, I don't see the argument on why to change it. It seems like construction has been going well over the last number of years here in Kingston, and that the law as it exists serves you well. Also, the major costs in any project is the cost of labor, but no matter whether it is a union contractor or a non-union contractor, you still have to pay prevailing wage. So if you pass this resolution, it isn't going to change the costs of construction projects. So it's really, I think, a red herring to say, well, this is going to make things cheaper. So also, why do we have apprenticeships? Because we want to ensure that the work is done right. That's what we want to do. And so therefore, it's important to uphold the high standards that you have now. So I appreciate this time. I hope that you vote against this resolution. My feeling is, if things aren't broke, don't fix it. And therefore, vote against this resolution and keep the situation the way it is so that you have quality construction at all times. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Anna Markowitz.
Hi, my name's Anna Markowitz. I'm Chief of Staff for Senator Michelle Hinchy, and I'd like to read it. Oh, hi. I'm Anna Markowitz. I'm Chief of Staff for Senator Michelle Hinchy, and I'd like to read a statement on her behalf. Apprenticeship programs can be an important avenue through which our local unions provide great pathways to long-term career success for our local communities. As a proud supporter of union apprenticeship programs, I urge you to keep the 2022 amendment, which requires that contractors performing certain works in the city have a DOL-approved apprenticeship program. This license, which is in line with Ulster County's language that was passed in May and signed into law in September, will help build a pipeline to good-paying jobs for our local residents. Kingston, like the rest of New York State, faces a workforce shortage, especially in the construction trades. Upholding this language of this amendment will help create stable, family-sustaining career opportunities in the city of Kingston, providing direct pathways into the middle class while raising incomes for local families. Supporting this apprenticeship program that produces these workforce results should be a top priority, and I urge you to preserve this resolution. From Michelle Hinchy. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Chris Cerrone.
Good evening. My name is Chris Cerrone. I am Ulster County resident and field representative with Labor's Local 17 in Newburgh. I'm here tonight to speak in opposition of Resolution 160, requiring each trade-specific apprenticeship program to provide verifying documentation of 3 trade-specific graduates per calendar year for the past 5 years. I've attended numerous meetings, and we've invited the council to visit our training facilities to see what the training we do with our members. And I don't disagree with the people from Harold that have all come up here today and spoke that they're local residents. Our members are local residents too, and have the same stories as the Harold employees. So this isn't about that. This is about legitimate programs, doing the right thing for the community, doing the right thing for the people. And regardless of where you stand, union or non-union, this is not a union and non-union issue. This is about training. This is about building the construction industry for the future and providing the correct training and having the right programs. We graduate people in our apprenticeship programs. You'll have people that'll speak here tonight that are graduates of that program. Numerous people that are here tonight that have graduated from that program. And regarding the information that was presented to the board and to the council rather, regarding numbers and cost, they're not substantiated. Most of them are irrelevant. They're not real numbers. My first red flag is to say to you, the council, why would a company that doesn't meet the requirements for the apprenticeship language continue to bid? Makes no sense. You know you're not going to qualify for the apprenticeship language. And oh, by the way, this is the same language that just was adopted in Ulster County, 21-1. It's good language. It's good for the city of Kingston. It's good for our residents. It's good for our members. It's good for the city. This provides a pathway for those kids in high school, in elementary school, in the community, that college is not a path that they're going to take, that they have to have a viable livelihood to survive. We all know what it costs today for a gallon of gas, a gallon of milk, heating oil, taxes, car insurance. We need to provide a path for these young kids. Regarding the wages, real quick, I was at the Laws and Rules Committee meeting and I heard apprentices don't save you money.
30 seconds.
An hourly labor journeyman is $44.80 per hour. Their benefits package is $36.05. An hourly rate of a labor apprentice is $27.05, and their benefit package is $31.20. That is a savings of $22.60 an hour. The only legal way to pay less than the posted prevailing wage is with an apprentice. The only legal way. The only other way around it is misclassification of workers, which is illegal.
Thank you. Your time is up.
Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Ryan Ham.
Good evening, Council. My name is Ryan Ham. I was born and raised in Kingston, and I am here tonight to urge Council not to repeal the current apprentice language. The distraction from facts and misinformation has created a false narrative that graduating apprentices from an actual program are not cost effective, when in fact, real apprentice programs are a cost savings tool. These cost savings are reflected in the apprentices rate. 60% for the first year, 70% for the second year, 80% for the third year, 90% for the fourth year, until the apprentice graduates to full journeyman rate. Real apprentice programs provide contractors with educated, well-trained, safety-oriented individuals to be the workforce of our future. Training that prepares them for solar infrastructure, highway and road repairs, concrete jobs, bridge projects, and that's just to name a few. This 4-year commitment towards graduation includes extensive classroom hours, as well as working in the field, gaining the hands-on knowledge that will guide them towards a successful career. A true apprentice program is a well-structured, well-documented program that not only teaches you proper skills and updates you on the latest technology in the industry, but is also a gateway to create a better life and establish a career for oneself. These apprentice programs should be held in the same regard as a 4-year college program. With continued education prices, these programs are what are going to continue to provide everybody an equal opportunity to create a life and future they deserve. I understand the council is having a hard time with the graduation rate. We believe the number is low. But if the council repeals the very soul of the apprentice program, which is its commitment to graduation, then you are sending a message that graduation from anything is no longer standard in the city of Kingston, as long as you just show up. Graduation means dedication. Please, vote no on repealing the current apprentice language. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Carolyn Riccardi.
Hi, how you all doing tonight? My name is Carolyn Riccardi. I live in New Paltz, New York, part of Ulster County. I've lived in New Paltz for 17 years, and I've been in construction, union and non-union, for over 10 years. Tonight, I am speaking to you as a third-year apprentice with Local 279 of the Carpenters Union in the Hudson Valley. In the past several years, I've worked on a number of really amazing projects I just want to mention. I've worked on the new science building at FDR High School. I've worked underground at the Roundout Aqueduct Tunnel, providing clean water to the entire state of New York. I've worked on the Newburgh Beacon Bridge, a project that completed 9 months advance of its schedule. But, you know, when I think about like having the opportunity to speak, I don't want to like speak, have a prepared speech and have you hear the same things over and over again that other people have said tonight. I think this is a really important issue, and I think that like looking at it from the perspective of Kingston's really important, but looking at it from the broad perspective is really important as well. 26 states in the United States are anti-union. It's explicitly written into all their legislature. They are right-to-work states. So the idea that unions are some Goliath that are holding down small businesses in the state of New York is just nonsense. It's just frankly not true. We compete for contracts just like non-union construction companies, and I've worked with Harold. They're great people. There are great people on both sides of this debate. However, when we have tax fraud days because of the hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars that are stolen out of workers who are in the building trades, I don't see any non-union companies there standing with us. And if I can mention one other thing in my last minute here, last night I was at my union hall. I was at an info session for people who want to come into our union, and there were close to 20 people there. Tonight, we have a class going on with our pre-apprentice program, which is direct entry for high school students in the Hudson Valley. And that's our second program that we've done in the past year. And
30 seconds.
Our vision of these programs also includes a vision of diversity, inclusion, and equity that has not been discussed by anyone tonight. Our vision is to create a union that is reflective of the communities we live in. And our communities are very diverse. And we are actively seeking to bring in people from our union, women, people of color, people who are poor and working class, and give them the opportunity that I've been given. So I want to thank you for your time, and I sincerely hope you do the right thing tonight. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Tom O'Brien.
Evening, everyone. Tom O'Brien. I hear charities over there on the other side. That's not the issue here. We all contribute to charities. Unions give every day. We're all touched in some way or another with different things, cancer, autism, or any of that stuff. Specialize in trades. There's 36 locals of different trades. We specialize in it. So when you're getting something, you're getting the quality, top quality. You're not getting a half-assed program. We spend over $1.5 million a year in our training. We cover Westchester, Putnam, Dutchess, and County. We basically provide a future for everybody. And it's hard to get into the union, but you know what? You keep on trying and knocking on the door, you'll get in. You can't give up. That's what we tell everybody who tries. We had Ulster County BOCES come to our union hall in Peekskill, 2 bus loads. So you can go to there and talk to the teachers there. We're building a relationship with all the trade schools. We're offering the opportunities for the kids. And then we have basically a residential light commercial division, and we're coming after that kind of work because we want to expand how much we're doing so we can get more people in and give them better opportunities. We basically work off of a contract. This contract is an agreement between us and the contractors. There's a retirement. There's something real. It's not a 401k. There's 2 pension plans and an annuity. You can outlive your 401k. If anybody in the back of the room or around the room wants to join a union, see any of the officials that are here tonight. We're open for business. Everybody's working. If you want to keep your job, ask for another raise. And then ask for retro if you get something. Because that's what you're deserving, because you're hardworking and you're basically suffering every day. You're basically giving the work, your sweat and tears so you can have something for your family. And the problem with that is you're not being compensated enough for it. Basically, again, I don't know how many people graduate from their programs. We have 150 apprentices in our 5-year program. They go to school for 280 hours a year, plus the on-the-job training, which are taught safety and everything else in there. We don't skimp on anything. Anybody on this panel that would like to come down to our union hall, I have an open invitation to any one of you, 1024 McKinley Street, as well as the non-union shops if they want to come and see what we do. You can have our training director talk. Please, if Local 21 apprentices,
30 seconds.
Stand up. Are you guys happy with the apprenticeship program? Thank you.
Council members, can I have another motion to extend for 30 minutes? Motion by Rennie Scott Childress, second by Carl Frankel. All in favor? Any opposed? Public speaking is extended for another 30 minutes. Next speaker, please.
Ed Flanagan.
Good evening. My name is Ed Flanagan. I am the current District 4 representative for the International of Operating Engineers, Local 825, as well as a lifelong resident of Ulster County. I'm here tonight to ask you to vote no on repealing the current apprenticeship law. Graduating from high school and college are major accomplishments and milestones in people's lives. Graduating after 4 years in the trades is also a major accomplishment and should be recognized as such. Graduating from an apprenticeship program gives a person an empowerment that they can achieve any goal and unlock potential towards their future to remain in the community in a productive and challenging workforce. I personally graduated from the apprenticeship program. The intense learning and valuable education have made me a better worker. I credit that to the best training from the highly trained instructors. Real apprenticeship programs work, and by repealing this law to remove graduation rates, removes any dedication and goal from the trainee to achieve. When you set a goal, you work harder to achieve that goal. Through this program, I was taught a good work ethic. I have worked hard in my life, and it has paid off. Thank you for your time, and I ask you to vote no to repealing the current apprenticeship law.
Next speaker, please.
Trevor. No one up here can understand what the last name is. I think it starts with a G.
Good evening. My name is Trevor Greco, and I'm a Good. My name is Trevor Greco, and I'm a lifelong resident of Ulster County. I've been a member of Local 825, International Union of Operating Engineers, for the past 9 years, and I started my career as an apprentice. Not only did the apprenticeship teach me about the trade, it also taught me about to be a member of the community. I strongly urge the council to not repeal the apprenticeship language for Ulster County. This language helps keep the construction jobs within our community and our county. We live, work, and spend our money in the county. And if we were to take the language out, we run the risk of having outside contractors and workers coming into the area and take our jobs. So once again, I strongly urge the council to not repeal the apprenticeship language. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Nick Vanzetti.
Good evening. Can everyone hear me?
If you could just re-put the mic where, yeah.
My name is Nick Vanzetta. I'm an Ulster County resident. I'm here tonight to ask that you vote no on repealing the current apprenticeship law. Achieving a graduation rate should be easily accomplished if the apprenticeship program is in fact a legit program. When there's no annual graduation, you must ask yourself why. What purpose does it truly serve? Apprenticeships are not here to just check a box for a contractor's bottom line, but are intended to develop a robust, well-trained worker that is educated to be a meaningful part of any and all projects that they work on. Repealing the current apprenticeship law with the graduation rate is clearly going to be a step in the wrong direction. You have the opportunity to take the right steps forward and show everyone that Kingston is moving ahead to ensure a future workforce that has graduated from a well-instructed, proper apprenticeship program. I yield my time. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Daniel Ortega.
Good evening. My name is Daniel Ortega. I am with the Engineers Labor Employer Cooperative, ELEC 825. We are the labor management fund for the operating engineers, Local 825. We represent both the union members and the contractors. Our members proudly serve the community they call home with pride, professionalism, and integrity. Local 825 has had a long history of working on different projects led by the City of Kingston for a very long time. We're not solely about construction jobs. Our members don't just work here. We live here, and we raise our families here too. About 20 of our members are residents of the City of Kingston, and about 8 of our contractors are either based in the City of Kingston and or are residents of the City of Kingston as well. For our union members and contractors, apprenticeships are important because it helps us maintain a highly skilled workforce ready on day one. The communities we serve value apprenticeships because they give a career path to many of our residents. Local 825 apprenticeship programs graduate about 30 members each year. Our state-of-the-art facility allows for our apprentices to learn the technical and practical skills to operate heavy equipment. Our members also use our facility to refresh and or learn new techniques and technologies which continue to make changes to our industry. We take pride of the training and the facility that our members take every day. Programs with low or no graduation rates clearly are a scheme to bypass accountability and the need to train and retain a strong workforce. The people building our much needed infrastructure should have the right skills and safety knowledge to do the right work. The proposed changes is a step back for public safety and the investment this council should be making in its own community. We should be talking about enhancing procurements, not weakening it at the expense of skilled labor. Thank you for the opportunity. I hope you vote down this proposal and continue working with labor and contractors to improve the quality of lives of the residents of the City of Kingston. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Anthony Sergio.
Good evening, council members. My name is Anthony Sergio, a lifelong Ulster County resident and a proud graduate of Kingston High School, class of 1999. I am a lead operating engineer with the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825, and currently have an apprentice with me on my job site in Boyceville. I am here tonight to ask that you vote no on repealing the current apprenticeship language. This apprenticeship is providing young men and women the opportunity to earn a living while learning the skills and knowledge needed to perfect their craft. The apprentice I have with me is a first-year apprentice, and because of the training he has and is receiving through this program, has already gained multiple skills and an immense amount of knowledge to where he can go out as a journeyman after his first year and perform safely and efficiently. This program is essential, and I please ask you to vote no. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Joseph Egan.
Good evening. My name is Joseph Egan. I'm a graduate of the apprenticeship program from Local 825. I'm here tonight to ask that you vote no on repealing the current apprenticeship law. The opposition to the current law will have you believe that the law has an impact on small businesses. It's just not true. The truth is the apprenticeship programs are real programs with the goal of graduating from training by certified instructors and a skilled workforce. Apprenticeship programs are a cost-efficient way for contractors to ensure their future workforce in all sizes, both large and small. I believe we can all agree that having safe, well-trained, and certified workers is the key to a successful project. Using workers that come through a real program benefits the whole community. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
James Nestor.
Good evening. My name is James Nestor. I represent the sheet metal workers of Local 38 in Ulster County and was an instructor for 14 years at our training facility. In September, we took in 17 men and women into our 4-year apprenticeship program, bringing our total to 82 apprentices. Right now, as we speak, we have 43 apprentices at our training school working on fulfilling their apprenticeship requirements. 8 apprentices are in the architectural sheet metal class. 8 apprentices are in the plans and specification reading class. 10 apprentices are in the welding class, and 17 apprentices are in the HVAC 101 class. In the last 5 years, we had 84 men and women enter our apprenticeship program, and 73 of those men and women graduated and are now well-trained sheet metal workers. That's a graduation rate of 87%. When you work hard on having a successful apprenticeship program, you want to work on increasing your graduation rate, not decreasing the rate. With that being said, we say vote no on the resolution. We also have an open invitation to anybody that wants to come to our training facility. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak.
Next speaker, please.
Chris Corwin.
Good evening. My name is Chris Corwin. I'm a 4th-year apprentice with the local 825 operating engineers. Yes. This organization has taught me and my fellow brothers and sisters how to do our jobs professionally, efficiency, and with a high regard to safety for ourselves, our coworkers, and the general public. I urge you not repeal the current apprenticeship language.
Next speaker, please.
Jake Parada.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jake Parada with the local 825 operating engineers. I'm a current apprentice going into my 4th and final year with the program. I'm a resident of the area and have worked in different parts of the community over the past few years. With my apprenticeship, I have learned about the construction industry and it has made me a better person how I go about my life. With apprenticeships, we are able to fill a shortage in the workforce and teach the future of these trades to work safe and to be fully certified with the work at the tasks they are in their respected fields. I strongly urge the council to not repeal the apprenticeship language in Ulster County. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Rick Whitney.
Good evening, Council. Can you hear me okay? This better?
Yes, you're
All right.
good. Thank you.
So my name is Rich Whitney. I'm a lifelong resident of New Paltz, New York, and I'm a Local 17 apprentice graduate. 15 years ago, I entered the program. Now I stand before you today as a business agent of Local 17. So I want to talk a little bit about what's being said tonight and just kind of try to put some things into context as I was standing over there listening as everybody else was. So this is kind of being framed as union versus non-union, but it's not. It's about having an apprentice program that actually graduates its apprentices. So Penny from the Merit Alliance stood up here today and said that she was the head of a small organization. At the Rules Committee a few weeks ago, she testified that they have 140 contractors signed to the Merit Alliance. It's 140 contractors. That same night, Val Dwyer, who's the president of Aero Construction, said that she has 40 full-time construction workers and currently has 1 apprentice. So that's 1 apprentice to 40. Penny said earlier that 825 had a 1-to-30 ratio, which in my head, and I'm a laborer, so I'm not that great about it, is a little better than 1-to-40. The Merit Alliance, according to Penny as well, was established in 2007. which is 16 years ago. So in 16 years, if they had one apprentice for 10% of their contractors, so just 14 apprentices a year, that would be a total of 224 apprentices over that 16-year stretch. And if they graduated just 14%, which is one half of the legislation we have in front of us, they would have 3 graduates per year, which they would meet the requirement. But they don't. They don't meet the requirement, and that's what tonight is about. Now, Val Dwyer also gave you statistics about jobs and money and lots of good information. But the question that we have is this a merit alliance problem or an apprentice graduation bar that's set too high? Because there are 28 apprentice programs in the building trades that all qualify. And we know that the Merit Alliance does not qualify. So it seems like out of 29 programs represented here
30
today,
seconds.
there's just one that doesn't qualify. So it doesn't really seem that 3 graduates per year for 5 years is too high of a bar. It seems that the Merit Alliance has a very low bar, that they're not graduating. Once again, my last 10 seconds here. If Merit Alliance had graduated just 14% over their existence, and that's just with 10% of their contractors having one apprentice, they would qualify.
Thank you.
But
Your
they
time
don't.
is up.
Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Jeff Beck.
Let's see. We good? Awesome. Perfect. My name is Jeff Beck. I'm the director of Build and Beyond, a union building trades pre-apprentice construction program in the Hudson Valley. Through a grant from the state of New York, it's an 8-week program developing life and construction skills with a direct entry into any of the union building trades affiliated upon graduation. My program is based out of Newburgh for the past 2.5 years, mainly recruiting out of Newburgh, Middletown, and other parts of Orange County. As the program continues to grow, we will be enlarging our recruitment areas. We'll be looking to reach into Ulster County, especially areas like Kingston. Build and Beyond gives an invaluable opportunity to a group of applicants that enriches their careers and lives with the building or union building trade apprenticeships, including well-paying work with benefits and retirement. The current apprenticeship language should be kept. If it's eliminated, you will be robbing Kingston and surrounding areas people of great work and pay. Keep the apprentice language so not only my program can succeed, but well-deserving individuals here in Kingston can have this great opportunity at a great career in life. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Greg Looks.
Good evening. My name is Greg Laux. I am the owner of Iron Sword Enterprises, located in Wallkill in Ulster County. Iron Sword is a federal and New York State certified service-disabled veteran business. I am not a signatory to a union agreement, but I have nothing against unions. I count them all as brothers and sisters, and we're all looking for work. If, however, these more stringent standards are allowed to stand, it will effectively deny me the ability to even compete or bid for work with those requirements. While waiting outside, I think somebody asked me a question that went to the very heart of the matter, and I don't think it's necessarily a union versus an open shop issue, but I was asked, why don't you just join a union? And I submit the real question is not, why should I join a union, but why should I have to join a union in order to get work? I also heard someone, I think it was Tom over here, I presume as a union representative, was explaining to a member that this was all about training standards, and I agree. And I'm all for well-trained, educated employees for their safety and for us in terms of executing our mission to our clients. But who says my employees are any less well-trained than anyone else in any of these unions? I've either built or managed construction in my 14 years of business, over $600 million worth of work, including Regeneron Pharmaceuticals, their $300 million expansion. And I'll tell you this, the final arbiter of my performance always is my client. I've never had a client that has ever accepted shoddy or unsafe performance on my part. And finally, I've never asked for a handout, but I've always sought opportunity with the right and the expectation that I would be allowed to fairly and freely compete. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Charles Amendola.
What was that name again?
Charles Amendola.
Oh, he spoke earlier.
Okay. Dave Coffey.
Good evening, council members and neighbors. My name is Dave Coffey. I live at 115 Harding Avenue right here in Kingston, New York. I also graduated from Kingston High School. I was recruited from BOCES. I went to Delhi, got into trades as an apprentice, worked my way up. And my son's here with me tonight, who's also an apprentice, who lives here in Kingston, graduated from Kingston High School. With my nephew also, first-year apprentice, lives here in Kingston, graduated here in Kingston. So if you think that these people in these unions aren't in your local community, you're wrong. We're here, we work hard, we want the opportunity to earn a living, and I think it's all wrong. I think what we need to do is keep this in here as verbiage so that we can recruit these kids and get them in the trades and get them a good living and have them be able to live in our communities and support one another and contribute back. I see no reason that these other contractors, they're not small contractors. They sound to me like pretty large contractors. I see no reason they can't up their game, get their apprentices, and match the numbers by saving money with apprentices. That's what it's all about, right? Because the guy that hired my son is worked all over the city of Kingston doing projects. The old Tony's Pizza, you know, he's worked at Ollie's, he's worked at, Adams Fairacre Farms all over here as a union contractor. So there's no reason that we can't support these kids, get them in a trade, and get them the education that they need and graduate them, and keep the three minimum for 3-5 rule, whatever we're calling it here. It sets a standard, right? That we're trying to teach that we want these kids that a trade is okay. You don't have to go to college. You know what I mean? You can actually start off right out of high school, get a job, go to an apprenticeship program, union or non-union program, and get a good paying, good career, and work hard, and support your family and live here in the city of Kingston, because that's what I've done for 30 plus years. I'm a local 21 member. I work hard, I pay my taxes here in the city of Kingston, and I just want to see it stay the way it is, that we keep the apprentices coming, and we keep the education going, and we keep saying to our children and our future that the trades is okay.
30 seconds.
Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Ryan Arold.
Good evening. My name is Ryan Arold. I graduated from Kingston High School in 2001, and I'm the vice president of Arold Construction located here in Kingston. This year we celebrated being in business for 50 years. I think it's quite odd that all the speakers opposing the resolution are union. I want to start off by clarifying some statements made by individuals opposing passing this resolution. If you want to talk ratios, Local 825 currently has 30 apprentices and 9,000 employees. I am very good at math. 1 to 40 is much better than 1 to 300. It was said that you would save money. Numbers don't lie. My sister just gave you the numbers. A low bid is a low bid, period. The only way to save money is to stay competitive. Also, just to clarify, our apprenticeship program consists of 80% minorities and 9% women. Our program is in compliance with the Department of Labor. The only reason the union has an advantage is because of the number of union employees. Their percentage of apprentices is way less than ours. You can't expect a small restaurant to feed 69 million people a day like McDonald's does, right? How can you ask us to have the same number of apprentices as a union who has at least 10 times more employees than we do? The fact is our program, although much smaller than the unions, is just as effective and as compliant as theirs. This new law was pushed into effect without the City of Kingston officials knowing that its intent was directly aimed at excluding smaller local non-union contractors in an effort to make the bidding process less competitive. I'm here because I believe every skilled worker in this room deserves the right to work regardless of whether they're union or not. We have worked for several contractors, both union and non-union, over the last 50 years, and we have had great relationships with them all. We even worked on the new Tappan Zee Bridge, a project that was claimed to be 100% union. Unfortunately, there were no union contractors skilled to perform the specialty work that we performed. We've also hired and supported union contractors and employees for several years. To exclude any contractor in the bidding process is wrong.
30 seconds.
It's wrong to the workers, it's wrong to the businesses, and most importantly, it's wrong to the taxpayers to force them to pay millions more for projects. I hope you all join me in support passing Resolution 160 to appeal the apprenticeship law. Thank you.
Next speaker, please. Next.
Scott Denny.
Good evening. Good evening, Madam President. Good evening, common council members. My name is Scott Denny, and I am a resident of the city of Kingston. And I find it deeply concerning that Mayor Noble has been deliberately attempting to harm not only Arrow Construction, but every other local contractor / developer and the families that depend on their livelihood. I feel certain that I'm not alone when I say the course of action is truly a complete and total atrocity. Yet the mayor has doubled down and continues with his narrative regarding the qualifications of our local developers, including saying that they were not qualified to do the work in Kingston in a recent Daley Freeman debate that I had with him. It is painfully obvious that Resolution 204 of 2022 was deliberately created by adding unprecedented language along with unattainable bidding requirements that he and the council are completely aware would ultimately exclude our hometown contractors and developers while leaving all the contracts in the city for the union alone. It is also important to note, as proven by Valerie Arrow Dwyer, with the lack of competitive bidding process, it could ultimately cost the taxpayers of Kingston millions of dollars, and those figures have been provided to the council as well. Again, as another example, this evening, we should note that Arrow Construction has been doing business in the city of Kingston for over 50 years without ever an issue, and has bailed the city out of numerous times on jobs that were not even theirs, including the Washington Avenue disaster. It is also important to note that, in fact, Arrow Construction is working on a regular basis for not only the state of New York, but the city of New York as well, which obviously speaks volumes to their qualifications, which Steve Noble continues to denounce in an extremely derogatory manner. President Schott, I feel that it is imperative that the council take note that not only the local contracts have proven records in the city of Kingston, but in this particular case, Arrow Construction has worked for and been deemed completely qualified to work in the city of Kingston for over 50 years. And any issues in the numerous cases has been bailed out, that they have bailed out other contractors as well. On an important note, I am asking each and every member of the council to not forget that our decisions will affect your constituents, your neighbors, their children, and their livelihood for a very long time to come. The people sitting in this chamber this evening are your neighbors, Some of
30
them are your
seconds.
friends, and you will see them often, whether it be in restaurants, in stores, at church, or anywhere out throughout your neighborhoods. The Common Council and the mayor should always protect our residents first, and so I would respectfully urge the city to immediately vote for Resolution 160 tonight and do it this evening without any further input from Mayor Steve Noble. Thank you.
We just ended our 30-minute. We had just also ended the sign-up sheet. Is there anybody else? I'll call for motion from the council to open it up, but if there is anybody else who wishes to speak who did not sign up? Okay, so is there a motion from the council to extend another 30-minute window? Yeah, yes, I know. Give me a second, please. Is there council members? Motion by Michelle Hirsch, second by Rita Worthington. All in favor? Opposed? We'll have another 30 minutes. Sorry, I had to do that first. Come on up. If you could just state your name and record. I'd like to follow all the rules, and thank you.
My name is Robert McClinchy. I'm a DC9 member and a business agent for the Painters Union. It's great to see everybody in this room debating, all walks of life. Everybody's got a good issue. Everybody's together on their part, on other people's parts. But I've been on both sides of the fence. I work non-union, I work union. I also went to college. I went to Michigan State. It's a great school. It's a great piece when you're at the bar hanging out with your friends and you're talking to people. Yeah, I went to Michigan State. That's a great thing. But know what I didn't get from Michigan State? I didn't get a degree. So it means nothing. I got credits. So when I apply for a job like a county job that has criteria, you need a bachelor's degree, you need a master's degree, or you need associates. I can't go to them and say, that's not fair, because I didn't graduate. What about everybody else that didn't go to college? What about the people that can't go to college? It's not fair for them. So you need to change that law. I want to be a teacher. I want to be a lawyer. I can't just go and apply to be a lawyer or a teacher. I didn't go to law school. I didn't get a degree. But one thing I got that I'm proud of, and I take it to the end, that I graduated from an apprentice program. I got that certification that says I'm a graduate. That's pride. I'm happy of that. Forget about Michigan State. That's over with. It means nothing. But I could hold my head high and say I go anywhere in this country and get a job as a top-paying journeyman as a taper, because I'm a tradesman. And I feel good about that. And I teach my kid that, and my kids and my family members, that you need to graduate. Because forget about the paper. It's a pride of earning something. And I earned it. And nobody could take that away from you. Thank you for your time.
Anybody else? And also did you already speak, sir? Okay. Yes, you could come on up, but as you're walking up, if anybody on Zoom wants to speak, just raise your Zoom hand. Okay. Thank you,
Good
sir.
evening, Council. My name is Scott Smith. I'm the business manager for Carpenters Local 279 here in the Hudson Valley. I got in late. I didn't get a chance to sign the sheet. I prepared a bunch of notes and a bunch of things to say tonight, but it was actually pretty refreshing to just sit over there and listen to everyone speak tonight. So I wrote down a few comments. I'd like to thank the Merit Alliance and all the workers of Herald Construction who literally proved the point that the apprenticeship resolution that is currently in place is working just fine. Everyone that spoke in opposition to the resolution is currently working. Not one person said they were unemployed or even remotely in danger of being unemployed. And based on what I hear tonight, it seems Herald Construction is doing quite well. As for the Merit Alliance, I find it quite shameful that an organization that has the term apprenticeship in its name and claims to represent over 140 contractors can't graduate 3 apprentices in a year. When it comes to apprenticeships, we should be raising the bar, not lowering it. It's time to vote no.
Anyone else before we close public speaking? And nobody on Zoom? All right, thank you very much. We're going to enter into our regular government proceedings. So if you could remain You want a break? Okay. Alderman Rennie Scott Childress.
I'd like to move that we suspend the rules in the sense of, I don't know if we need to suspend the rules, but to move 160 up to the first item that we vote on, so that folks here who've already been here for a very long time would be able to go home without having to wait for the mundane business we
All
usually
right,
do.
so the motion to move Resolution 160 up to the first item, does anybody have, or can I have a second to that? Second by Drew Andrews. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so we could do that and then take a break, is that good? Okay.
Yeah, that
All right,
works out.
so we do have a couple things before we get to that, but it'll move quickly. So we're now entering into claims and communications. Hearing no discussion, they'll be on the file in the clerk's office. Can I get a motion to dispense with the second reading of the general bills? Motion by Rennie Scott Childress, second by Carl Frankel. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is adopted 9-0. We're now entering into the report of committees, and we will begin with Resolution 160. Then we'll take a break and come back to Resolution 150. So please, 160.
Resolution 160 of 2023. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, amending Section 1 of Resolution 204 of 2022.
Just remind council members that you only get 2 times on the floor. Anybody on the question? Alderman Bob Dennison and then Alderman Carl Frankel.
Madam President, throughout my career in the construction industry, I've been pro-labor and a supporter of apprentice programs. I believe we have an obligation to bring young people into the industry, and strong apprentice programs are an important part in fulfilling that responsibility. The City of Kingston has had an apprentice program requirement for capital projects since 2004, and that will continue. That said, I will be voting yes on Resolution 160, which is the third revision of the city apprentice requirements. I'm uncomfortable with the revision passed last year because it places a requirement on bidders without a way for the city to independently verify or document conformity. I do not see this as the end of the conversation, however. There are other parts of our apprenticeship program that need refinement and revision, and we should do so, and we should do that work without delay. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Carl Frankel.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President, and thank you, folks who spoke here, for what was a really compelling debate and quite diverse opinions. So I will start my remarks by saying that, to quote the late and great Ricky Nelson, who said, "You can't please everyone, so you've got to please yourself." I will be voting, as I did at the Laws and Rules meeting, in favor of changing the language of the apprenticeship program so that it only requires a 30% graduation rate. I would be remiss, however, if I failed to add my thoughts about the larger situation and context. This is a very tricky and challenging issue, and I want to do to it what justice I can. I'm now coming into the final months of my first and what will be my last term as a member of the Common Council. Until now, every decision has been pretty straightforward. There's been a clear right and wrong for me. Here, the situation is different. Construction contracts, union shops, open shops, none of this is my world. I've come into the situation ignorant, and the back and forth has been quite an education, one that is still very much a work in progress. As I've listened to different people advocate for their positions, I felt like I'm watching a tennis match, a metaphor for which I thank my colleague, Michelle Hirsch. Person X says something and it sounds good to me. Person Y bats the ball back and what they sound good to me, and back and forth until I'm left feeling like a character out of Ghostbusters with my head spinning around 360 degrees. It's quite a learning curve I've been on. I feel like I'm now on rung 6 of what is a 10-rung ladder. I'm beginning to gain clarity, but there's still a long way to go. This is why, and I want to stress this, I view tonight's vote as a transit stop along the way. I cannot emphasize enough that this vote tonight is for something short-term and provisional. We need to get this right. We need to get this really right, and as far as I am concerned, we aren't there yet. I want the next chapter in this saga to roll out expeditiously, but even more importantly, wisely and judiciously. As I've said, we have to get this right. And man, is it complicated. let me share some of the thoughts and narratives that are swirling around in my head as I listen to these folks talk and as I try to wrap my head around this very slippery subject. I will do my best to frame these thoughts and narratives in the context of my values, which have to be like a mast in the wind, or otherwise they're not values at all. So let me start with this. By nature, constitutionally, I'm on the side of the underdog. But what does this mean in this particular situation? This is where things get complicated. It's why I've been left feeling like I'm aiming my moral and regulatory arrow at a target that's sheathed and veiled by layers of gauze. So let me just give you a taste of the complexities that I, and I think we, are dealing with. Let me start with this. There's an ancient narrative in the mix here. Unions exist to protect the underdog, and there's certainly merit to this narrative. Capitalists historically have exploited their workers, and unions provide a crucial counterweight. But that narrative exists alongside less positive narratives about unions that, as a member of this society and culture, I cannot be unaware of. On balance, I'm pro-union. I think we need them as a counterweight. I also understand that with the UAW strike hovering visibly in the background, it's important for progressive politicians to be seen as standing with the unions. But I'm coming to believe that the unions are not the underdogs here. It's the local open shops that are the underdog and that have been unfairly disadvantaged by the apprenticeship program requirement that will hopefully be struck tonight from the law as it stands. The narrative, good unions, bad capitalists, has merit at the 50,000-foot level. Down on the ground, though, there are lots of open shops whose owners treat their employees very well indeed. We have them here in Kingston. We've heard from them tonight, and it would be wrong to have them take a hit because of the larger we must stand with the unions principle that arises out of the age-old unions good, management bad narrative. I'm all for keeping bad corporate actors out of the corral. I'm unaware of any such companies being part of the conversation. If I'm wrong, show me the evidence. I would like to see it. I also believe in having a level playing field, although in fairness, I'm also in favor of tilting the playing field to support important policy objectives like, for instance, electric cars. Leaving that exception aside, I will say generally that I'm against playing politics or skewing regulation, so while it's nominally about one thing, underneath appearance it delivers something different, specifically an uneven level playing field, and that appears to be the case here. While the public discussion is not, much of the public discussion is nominally about apprenticeship programs, as we've heard tonight, as the conversation has moved along, I find myself starting to believe that more fundamentally, it's about cutting out the competition. As currently constituted, the apprenticeship program regulation has one clear outcome. It cuts non-union shops out from the competition for city contracts. This has come at a significant financial cost to the city, since on multiple occasions it's been the open shop that was the lowest bidder. Since I also believe in saving money while of course adhering to necessary quality, diversity, and prevailing wage requirements, this is ultimately not in the interest of the city. Now, I've heard the argument leveled at me that doing away with that requirement creates an unlevel playing field because the Merit Alliance's program is mere window dressing and not a program with real, so to speak, merit. I've heard it tonight many times. Show me a list of their graduates. They won't show a list of their graduates, I've been told. Yet I've also been told that of course they'll reveal their apprentices, their graduates, that it's a bogus charge, and so on. So we have an important issue of fact here. Now, in truth, I'm inclined to trust the Merit Alliance, but like they say, trust and verify. This is yet another reason why I stated earlier that I see us as only partway down the road. I and we need a clear answer to this and other questions. Perhaps I'm overly optimistic, but I believe that we can draft language that addresses the apprenticeship issue in a way that genuinely creates a level playing field and takes care of our own and the union side too. I believe that we can come up with language that honors the need to empower young workers as they go forward to make their lives, that saves money for the city while also adhering to other values the city holds dear, such as committing to training people well and fully, that limits qualifying bidders to companies, union or open shop, that treat their employees genuinely well, and last but not least, that honors and rewards unions for the good work they do, for instance, with their worthy apprenticeship programs. Now, I've only scraped the surface of the issues that have arisen for me here. What follows is a short additional list of questions, of wonderings that I'm working with now and don't have answers to yet. There's the right role of local government question. Is it Kingston's place to be judging the merits of apprenticeship programs? Is it enough to rely on the state's assessment? How much assessment responsibility is the right amount of responsibility in this situation? Does Kingston have the competence or resources to make these judgments? Is this work we should be doing? There's the matter of optics. Are the politicians who are supporting the unions doing so out of core beliefs or because they've received donations? Here again, I want to emphasize that I'm not hazarding an answer to this question. I note it because it's part of the swirl of gauze that stands between me and my goal of helping to draft just and fair requirements. Finally, and I'm coming to my end, there's the role model element. For all the right reasons, the City of Kingston, with Steve Noble at the helm, has become a role model for other local government entities. But what does being a good role model look like here? Does it mean standing with the union, or does it mean something else? Here, again, I'm not hazarding an answer. I'm just saying why my head is spinning. I'm raising these three examples to return to my starting point, which is, damn, this is complicated, and we need time to get it right. I look forward to doing my part in the few months remaining in my term to help make that happen. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Anyone else? Alderwoman Michelle Hirsch, and then Alderman Rennie Scott Childress.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd just like to say, first of all, that if we're all, I stated this last night in caucus, if we're all speaking about needing to still get this right, we should not be going for a vote tonight. I was given the reason that it's a financial reason that we need to pull back and pull out the 3/5 rule. As the speaker said earlier, the financial issue is a red herring, and I'd like to agree. The paperwork that was given to us tonight is different than the paperwork that's been given to us previously. Their open shops are not cut out fully. It depends on the funding source, if it's a federal grant, if it's a state grant, if it's below $100,000. Everyone still has a seat at the table. In a PLA, open shop can still bid. So if everyone's going to go forward for the vote tonight, I'm going to stand, I'm a no. I'm going to stand in support of a stronger apprenticeship program for the City of Kingston and for Ulster County. Thank you.
Alderman Rennie Scott Childress.
Thank you, Madam President. I agree with Alderwoman Hirsch that we need to get this right. I would, though, step back a little bit further in time. The problem is that we acted earlier and may have gotten it wrong. This is actually a change that we introduced a little over a year ago. So I think it's best to retreat a little here by repealing so that we can proceed better. This is also a story of somewhat unintended consequences. Our original intent was to encourage a sound apprenticeship program across the board, but we did not realize at the time that it might have some unintended consequences in actual practice. We have some evidence that the clause in question is hurting both local construction businesses and the city in terms of the amount of money we're spending on contracts, construction contracts. It may be making it difficult for local businesses with which the city has had long and mutually beneficial relations. As a result, it appears to be messing up the bid process, reducing the number of applicable bids, and increasing construction costs. I do take very seriously that this is a fiduciary issue. I take it seriously, too, that we want to protect union workers. I take it seriously that we want to ensure that we have quality apprenticeship programs. We on the council are committed to working on a solution that accomplishes the twin goals of, one, significant support for apprenticeship programs. This is not about whether to be in favor or against apprenticeship programs. That's not in doubt. We're all in favor. And second, equally, we have to provide significant support for local businesses. 160 removes the 3-5 clause provisionally. It was instituted without a substantial discussion by all interested stakeholders. I agree with Assemblywoman Sarah Hannah Shrestha, who sent us a letter, all of the members of the Common Council here, urging us to sit down and talk with all stakeholders. We did not do that when we first passed this resolution instituting this change. I think it is time now that we do exactly that. I'd like to note, too, somebody mentioned that the county has the same legislation. That's false. The county has the same legislation up to a point, but it also provides for 3 significant exceptions that allow the chief purchaser to disregard any of the regulations that are in our particular legislation. We don't have that kind of exception, and it might be a good idea for us to introduce those same exceptions. I also agree with Chris Cerrone and Rich Whitney. This is not a union versus non-union issue. It's also not an issue of whether to support apprenticeship programs. We do. It's about 2 things. The first one is the quality of apprentices. The second is also about the city's commitment to those who have been committed to the city. This includes union workers and open shops. So some issues that we're looking at, building on what Carl said, is we've seen some claims about the quality of various programs. This is important for us to investigate. The legislation actually has 2 measures of graduation, and this makes it also difficult to quite get to the issue here. One is a percentage. Everybody seems to agree 30% graduation rate overall is a good idea. The other is more about an absolute number, 3 graduates each of the last 5 years. So to me, though, none of these really speak to the issue of quality of those graduates. So two key questions for me are, 1, whether the 3-5 rule has the effect claimed for it, and second, what is the effect on local businesses? The only serviceable choice for me, the only sensible choice for me, is to repeal and develop an approach that satisfies both these questions. And at least one other alderman has agreed to serve with me to talk with all interested parties so that we can come up with a solution that satisfies all of the concerns that have been addressed tonight to the degree that we can. But that is our good faith goal, after repealing this, so that we can then look for a satisfactory outcome. This is why I am in favor of 160.
Thank you. Anybody else? Alderwoman Sarah Pasty.
Hello, everyone. As one of the newcomers to the Kingston Common Council, I feel I have a lot to learn before I can make a fully informed vote about the resolution before the council regarding the apprenticeship program requirement for city contracts. I will vote to approve the current resolution with the understanding that further investigation, including my own, will be undertaken within the next few months to develop thoughtful, fair legislation regarding program requirements. My own research will be to look at similar legislation that has been approved in other communities in New York State. I want to thank everyone who has spoken to the council, both tonight and in the last month, for their valuable input, which will help us to craft the best possible legislation going forward regarding apprenticeship programs. I also want to thank President Shout and my fellow council members for their thoughtfulness and assistance in connection with this resolution and the other matters that have come before us. Going forward, I look forward to working with all elected representatives, the mayor and city staff, and the residents of Kingston to help make Kingston the best city that it can be. Thank you.
Alderman Steve Shabbat. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. A couple people have alluded.
Steve, is your mic on? Oh, just, it was quiet, so if you could just.
Okay.
Thank you.
How's that? Good? Okay, all right. Couple folks have alluded to the fact that, we did this perhaps without vetting it completely. I don't believe I think we heard the term apprenticeship. Who can argue that that's a bad thing? I think it's a great thing, but perhaps we didn't stop to look at all the consequences, all the benefits, things that could go wrong. I think we didn't perhaps rush to judgment originally on this. We have an opportunity here, as a couple people said, to get it right. We've talked about working on this continuously. The work is not, no matter how the vote goes tonight, the work is not going to stop here. It's going to go on, and I appreciate those folks who have been very actively involved with this. The whole council, this has been a big topic. I think everybody has really done their homework and come up with their opinions, no matter how their opinions are received. So, again, I hope we work to get this situation right. I think it's doable. I think we can have everybody involved in the process as it's moving forward and make it work for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing no more discussion, I will call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Passes 8-1. The dissent is Alderwoman Michelle Hirsch. We are going to take a 7-minute break. Council members, if you could be back here at 9:50. Everybody else, you're more than welcome to stick around, but if you would like to leave, you could feel free to do so. Thank you.
Have a great night.
I'll see you, brother. You're good.
I'll sit down.
I'll talk to you on the way up.
We're going to start. 7 minutes is up. Class, back to your seats. Where'd everyone go? Council members, come back, please. Come back.
Please come back.
Please come back. You still got some more work to do. Council members, go back to your desks. To water? To get water? Go. Go ahead.
How about vodka?
You can make a motion for anything, Rennie. Then, all right, we will stand back into the meeting. Going back to Resolution 150, please.
Resolution
Enter
150 of 2023, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the transfer of $1,100 in the mayor's budget to balance accounts.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 151, please.
Resolution 151 of 2023, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the transfer of $28,912 in the Department of Public Works to cover unexpected expenses and budget shortfalls.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 152, please.
Resolution 152 of 2023, Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the transfer of $50,315 in the Arts and Cultural Affairs budget to support the hiring of a consultant services and unanticipated expenses.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 153, please.
Resolution 153 of 2023, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the transfer of $23,225 in the Parks and Recreation Department budget to balance accounts.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 154, please.
Resolution 154 of 2023, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the transfer of $3,889.42 in the clerk's budget to balance accounts.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 155, please.
Resolution 155 of 2023, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the transfer of $42,000 in the Health and Wellness budget for a wayfinding plan for the Kingston Green Line network of trails and complete streets.
On the question, Alderman Rennie Scott Childress.
Thank you, President Schott. I'd just like to note for the folks watching at home or present here, 155 and 152 are actual zero impact to the city's budget. Both of those are grants, and these are, in a sense, we're just approving the money to flow through the city's coffers, but these will not cost the taxpayers anything.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing no more discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 156, please.
Resolution 156 of 2023, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the mayor to submit an application to the New York State Department of Health for a healthcare and mental hygiene worker bonus grant for up to 60 firefighters in the amount of $90,000, and to execute any and all related documents, and if awarded, to expend funds in the first instance.
On the question, Alderman Rennie Scott Childress.
Thank you, President Schott. I'd like to point out again to folks who may be watching or here in the audience, this is a grant from New York State that would allow us to express our great appreciation to our firefighters. This would be in the form of a bonus that would, again, pass through the city. There'd be a very small amount of money the city pays to cover FICA, but other than that, this is money from New York State to support our really important and beloved firefighters.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing no more discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 157, please.
Resolution 157 of 2023, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the mayor to expend funds in the first instance for the 2023 Rebuilding America Infrastructure with Sustainability and Equity Discretionary Grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation for the Weaving the Waterfront Transportation Project, and to execute any and all related documents.
On the question, hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 158, please.
Resolution 158 of 2023, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing settlement in the matter of Dina Baum, 199 Wall Street, SBL 56.91-2-31.
On the question, hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 159, please.
Resolution 159 of 2023, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, affirming the attached Ulster County resolution related to sales tax sharing agreement.
On the question, hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 161, please.
Resolution 161 of 2023, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, approving the MOA between the City of Kingston and the CSEA Local 1000 ASFCME and AFL-CIO Kingston City Unit 8951, Ulster County Local 856, covering the period December 31st, 2021 through December 31st, 2025.
On the question, Alderman Rennie Scott Childress.
Thank you, Madam President. I am proud to vote in favor of this resolution. This is a contract that's been supported by our CSEA members. It's also a way of the city advancing its appreciation for what these workers do for the city day in, day out. They do some of the hardest work, fixing up the city, working on the streets, working in the sewers, taking care of the parks and so forth. We're really proud of the work that they do. I'm glad that we're able to offer them this time around a higher than usual yearly increase. I'm also happy that they were able to work with us to allow for overtime during the winter months so that the city can do an even better job of taking care of its streets during snow emergencies.
Thank you. Anyone else on the question? Hearing no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Moving to resolution number 163, please. 163. Oh, 162, sorry.
Resolution 162 of 2023. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, approving increases as detailed and attached according to the Management Confidential Handbook covering the time period December 31st, 2021 through December 31st, 2025.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. And moving to resolution number 163, please.
Resolution 163 of 2023. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing a total project cost of $2,480,000 for the wastewater treatment plant project.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Opposed? Resolution is adopted 9-0. Alderman Rennie Scott Childress.
Madam President, I move that we block the resolutions 164.
Do you mean to suspend the
I
rules?
move that we suspend the rules in order to have a vote on blocking, or voting as a block on resolutions 164 to 168 because we're tired.
So there's a motion on the floor to suspend the rules. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Steve Shabbat. All in favor to suspend the rules?
Aye.
Opposed? Rules have been suspended. Alderman Rennie Scott Childress.
I move that we block items 164 through 168 and vote on them all as a block.
All right, so our clerk would read all of these and then you would take a single vote on all of them. So there's a motion, and is there a second? Second by Bob Dennison. All in favor to block these resolutions? Anybody opposed? All right, resolutions 164 to 168 are now blocked, and we are back into session. Elisa, can you please read all of them? Thank you.
Thanks, Rennie. Resolution 164 of 2023, an ordinance amending an ordinance in relation to the traffic on the public streets of the City of Kingston, New York, removing handicap parking on Cedar Street. Resolution 165 of 2023, an ordinance amending an ordinance in relation to the traffic on the public streets of the City of Kingston, New York, removing handicap parking on Klingberg Avenue. Resolution 166 of 2023, an ordinance amending an ordinance in relation to the traffic of the public streets of the City of Kingston, New York, removing handicap parking on Elmendorf Street. Resolution 167 of 2023, an ordinance amending an ordinance in relation to the traffic on the public streets of the City of Kingston, New York, adding handicap parking on St. James Street. Resolution 168 of 2023, an ordinance amending an ordinance in relation to the traffic on the public streets of the City of Kingston, New York, adding handicap parking on Green Street.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote, and your vote will be for resolutions 164 through 168. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All resolutions are passed 9-0. And that concludes our communications. Does anybody have anything else? Alderman Steve Shabbat.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to take the opportunity to close tonight's meeting in memory of Patricia Brune. full disclosure here, Pat is a member of my extended family that we have here. Everybody has them here in Kingston, it seems like. Pat is a big part of the family. I've known her for decades. She recently lost a long and courageous battle with Parkinson's. I don't think there's any such thing as a short battle with Parkinson's, but Pat handled it with grace and dignity, had the support of her family. And let me tell you how much they support her family. Members of her family have sat through tonight's whole meeting in order for me to say a couple kind words about Pat. So kudos to them for their support over the last few years with Pat's condition. We all appreciate that. Pat was not born here. Pat was born in Brooklyn to the Paraday family. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with that name. Came to Ulster County in the 50s, began her career and her family here. Pat did a lot of things. She was very active in the community with her career. She KHS grad. She got her RN from the Benedictine School of Nursing. That's not even around. I don't even know when that went out of business, but it was a long time ago. She got a BS from SUNY New Paltz. She worked at Cornell Medical Center, the U.S. Veterans Hospital, the Benedictine Hospital, and finally, I think it was probably her last position was Hurley Avenue Surgical Center. And again, full disclosure here, Pat being an RN, means something to me. I've been married to an RN for 50 years, and I know what kind of dedication it takes to lead that life, and I know what kind of dedication it takes from the family to accept that way of life. So kudos to you both. Unfortunately, Pat does leave behind a loving family, Honorable J. Michael Brune, her loving husband, and I'm not even sure how many years, but it's been quite a number. Her children, Judy, Mike, and Annie, 9 grandkids. And I didn't even mention a couple other things that Pat was involved in. The Ulster County 4-H, and she's active in the Benedictine Auxiliary and the Junior League of Kingston. Certainly a life well lived. I'm proud to have known Pat. She really held the family together all these years. No offense, Mike, but Pat was a ball of fire, but she had a very pleasant misdemeanor. She's demeanor. So I strike that from the record. But anyway, we're certainly going to miss her. It was good when we got to see her. Unfortunately, over the years, we don't see each other as much as we would like to, but it was always nice to see Pat, and we are saddened by her loss and also for the family. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. My condolences. Alderman Rennie Scott Childress.
Thank you. I rise to close this meeting in honor of Arnie Husby, who lived on Glen Street for many years. He is a member of what I bet is a very small group here in Kingston, which is Natives of Norway. He was born there in 1938. He moved here as a child. He ended up serving in the United States Army, and then for quite a while worked as a talented diesel mechanic, first at Eagle Diesel, and then later, you may have recognized him if you went to Colony Liquor Distributors. That's where he worked for a good long time as well. He was always willing to lend a helping hand. If you needed something fixed, you'd call Arnie. He also enjoyed woodworking, and he had a secret love for furry animals. His family and church were the center points of his life. He's survived by his wife of 63 years, Ada Husby, 2 children, and a number of grandchildren.
Thank you. Anyone else? No? Then would everybody like to go home? Because I'll take a motion to adjourn. Naeem Mohammed has the motion, seconded by Michelle Hirsch. All in favor to go home? Aye. Opposed? Please note that our next meeting is on Monday, November 6th at 7:30 p.m., which is very different from us. But until then, we are hereby adjourned until Monday, November 6th, 2023 at 7:30 p.m. Thank you.